Have you ever spent 20 minutes writing a text message only to delete the entire thing and send, "Sounds good"? Meanwhile, someone else replies with K, and somehow they're thriving. Some people make decisions in seconds. What job to take, who to date, what to say. But if you're the kind of person whose brain never stops running, every decision feels like a mission briefing before a moon landing. And here's the weird part. The smarter your brain gets, the easier it becomes to overthink yourself into exhaustion. Most people think intelligence is having answers. But that's not really it. Intelligence is seeing possibilities. Lots of possibilities. Imagine you're standing in front of two doors. Most people see door A and door B. Simple. Your brain sees, what if door A works? What if door B works? What if door A fails? What if door B fails? What if there's a better door C? What if I'm making the biggest mistake of my life right now? Congratulations. You are no longer choosing between two doors. You're managing an entire multiverse. Thousands of years ago, this was actually useful. Imagine two cavemen hear something moving in the bushes. The first caveman says, probably the wind. The second caveman says, what if it's a predator? What if it's another tribe? What if we're in danger? The cautious caveman survives more often. So evolution rewarded brains that looked for problems. The problem is, your brain still runs that exact software. Only now the bushes became text messages, job interviews, Instagram posts, awkward conversations. The danger detector never got the update. Here's something strange. Your brain doesn't get paid for being optimistic. It gets paid for keeping you alive. Imagine you're about to send a risky message. Your brain immediately goes, what if they ignore you? What if they think it's weird? What if you embarrass yourself? What if this somehow ruins your entire future? Because to your ancient brain, missing a threat was always more dangerous than imagining one. So it constantly scans for things that could go wrong, even when nothing is actually wrong. And here's where overthinking becomes a trap, because sometimes your brain is so busy preparing for the future that it forgets to live in the present. You replay conversations that are already over. You imagine arguments that never happen. You rehearse explanations nobody asked for. You create backup plans for backup plans. Not because you're irrational, but because your brain genuinely believes it's helping. It's trying to protect you. The problem is that modern life contains thousands of uncertainties, and if you try to solve every possible future, you never stop thinking. Which brings us to the most dangerous time of day. 2 in the morning. No work, no notifications, no distractions. Just you and your thoughts. That's when your brain suddenly remembers that embarrassing thing from 6 years ago, that awkward conversation from last week, that decision you're still unsure about. It's like your brain waits until you're trying to sleep and then starts a podcast nobody asked for. The biggest problem with overthinking is that it feels productive. It feels like preparation, like planning, like you're gaining control. But most of the time, you're just running simulations for events that never happen. It's like checking the weather forecast every 5 minutes. At first you're gathering information. Eventually you're just feeding anxiety. Thinking and overthinking look almost identical, but one solves problems, the other creates them. The irony is that smart people often overthink because they're trying to avoid mistakes. But life isn't won by making perfect decisions. It's won by making enough decisions. Sometimes the smartest thing your brain can do is stop trying to predict every possible future and finally find out what happens in the real one.
If you want more content like this, please subscribe, like and share. See you in the next one.